leveraged income, and the reason why this is important because these are conversations that I have with people on a daily basis. My background was in law enforcement. It's what I've always wanted to do. I love my profession in law enforcement. I work for the state as a state trooper, and I love my profession. But at the end of the day, I was trading that time for money, and raising a family, it was difficult to do it on state wages. It required my wife and I to think outside the box. We made a decision early on that my wife would take care of the things at home and the needs of the family, and I'd be the breadwinner. And as the kids got bigger, I needed more bread to take care of the kids. And at the end of the day, I only knew one thing. I was taught to go to school, get your degree, and typically the statistics are that if you have your degree, you're going to make more money than somebody who's not. So as a result of that, that's all I knew for me, I didn't go to college. I actually went into law enforcement. And going into law enforcement, I was on a very set income, and the state determined what my value was. They determined how much money I was going to get paid. And if I wanted a different lifestyle or I wanted to make more money, I had to give up more time in order to make that. So I was the kind of guy that in law enforcement that I would work my regular job and then I go work part-time gigs. And I remember at one time working like 3 part-time gigs while still balancing out a full-time work schedule. And that was very complicated. I remember I got to the point where like truly I didn't have any more time to give. It was all tapped out. I had nothing else. When you're on that linear exchange, you are always in exchange for your time to make money. So the value of you is predicated upon how many hours you can work. And at the end of the day, that's restricted, that's limited, right? There's only so many hours you can work in a day. At the end of the day, it's how many days a week I can work or how many months out of the year I can work. And that ended up getting to a point where I realized I had to do something different. I needed to make more money to support the needs of my family. And you guys have probably heard that old saying, how much is enough money? And the response to that is always just a little bit more. Well, that was my story. I always needed just a little bit more to get through. And when I ran out of that time, I didn't have anything more to give. So I just want to kind of go over 3 quick points on the difference between linear versus leveraged incomes. I think this is really the separating point between the haves versus the have-nots, or what I would say is the difference between the people who become independent versus the people who are completely dependent. And whether that's dependent on the government or whether that's dependent upon a job or a boss or somebody dictating how you're going to live your life. So here's the rules. This is fundamental basics. So this is really relevant to those people who just say today's a day that I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm going to take control and ownership of my life and I'm going to do something different. So this is really for you. This is where I was like literally 15, 20 years ago, and it completely put me into a completely different paradigm. All right, number 1, linear income is trading time for money, number 1. Number 2, it's constant. The second you stop doing it is the second you will stop getting paid. And number 3, and this is a big one, it's taught through public education. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. But if you want to have the big conversations that are taking place with the masses of people, it's the public education system that's influencing people that the way to provide for your family or to provide a lifestyle is to make sure you go to school, get good grades, so you can get a good job, right? I mean, that's the objective. And getting that good job is you're going to be working for somebody else who will dictate that. All right, so that's the 3 pieces to linear exchange. It's going to be constant, you'll be trading your time for money, and it's going to be public education system is where it's going to be taught. That's why the masses of us only know this one way of doing things. If you need to make more money, you either advance your education or you try to find more value or influence that you can give to a company that will pay you more money worth your time, right? Small business owners, those of you that are in the small business area, that was me, small business owner guy. You are the biggest asset to your business if you own a small business. Now, in other words, you're still on that exchange, time for money. All right, leveraged income is completely different. You got to understand there's a lot of different ways you can create leverage income. The fact of the matter is most people don't know that leverage income even exists. It's leveraging a system. It's leveraging people. It's leveraging a company. It's leveraging anything else, like assets that can give you something residually or consistently over time, right? So number 1 this is a big one, it's the model of the wealthy. And when I say wealthy, I'm not talking about money. A lot of people associate wealth with money. Wealth is associated to time. The ability to leverage money to gain time, that would be an example of wealth. I've heard it said that wealth can be measured literally by how much wealth can be measured in time, right? Because how much money do you have to allow you a choice of freedom? That's really what wealth is. It's a measurement of how much freedom do you have. If you have $5,000 a month in bills that have to be paid every single month, and you got $15,000 of liquid cash in savings account, not 15,000 into something else, but in liquid cash, then you got 3 months of wealth because you could pay your bills for 3 months and live free. Okay, so wealth is measured in time, not money. Money does buy time. Money does buy time. Okay, here's number 2 when it comes to leverage. It's residual. It pays over and over and over again. It's that storyline of building a well that's going to continue to produce for you, or setting up a pipeline, right? Rather than bucketing water and taking it to the village, as the old story goes, it's literally setting up a pipeline where water is constantly free flowing to the village. That right there will be residual. We'll do over and over and over again. It's that person who can write the really good book and have that book repurchased over and over and over again. Residual. Okay, so that is a piece to leveraged income, is it's residual. Now here's the big one. Now, this is where I think a lot of people get it wrong. It is leveraged income is self-taught. It's self-educated. It's the people who decide to become self-educated at learning what leverage looks like or how to create residual income. The people who typically succeed in the leveraged piece. There's a lot of people who say they want it. There's a lot of people out there who say that they would love to have residual income, but are they willing to really self-educate themselves on how to get it? Very few people will do that. I've seen some people do it with businesses, that they build a big enough business that it doesn't require them to be there anymore. That's leverage. I've seen people do it with real estate. If you are learning how to leverage real estate, you can create residual income. That's leveraged. Okay, network marketing is another powerful one that gives the masses the ability to educate themselves here, to develop the proper mindset, to develop the proper skill set, to be able to participate in residual income. All right, so those are the 3 things. Linear income, trade your time for money. It's constant and it's taught through the public education system. Leveraged income, it's the model of the wealthy. Wealthy is measured in time. It's residual, and it's done through self-education, being self-taught or self-educated, where you're learning how to do that. All right, I hope that makes a little bit of sense to those of you that are watching this. And if you have, if you like it, subscribe to the YouTube channel. There'll be a lot more content coming online as we start talking about financial independence, as we talk about how to build businesses, how to engage in producing leveraged income, and the different opportunities that are tied to there. We'll have professionals also that'll be joining in, educating on really how to create leveraged income. So with that, I hope you guys have found value. One of my favorite quotes, I'll close with this. One of my favorite quotes is consistent effort, not strength or intelligence, is the key to unlocking your fullest potential. Consistent effort, not strength or intelligence, is the key to unlocking your fullest potential. Hope you found value. You guys have a wonderful day. I don't even know how to turn this darn thing off.